You mentioned our next inductee, and I don't know how she does it, but I think it's the power of television that turned her on to doing 3 sports that not many of us would even challenge to do one. Ladies and gentlemen, here's Paolina Allan, your Aurora Sports inductee.
Paolina Allan was born in January 1970 in Toronto. She lived in Scotland from the age of 7 until the age of 20 when she returned to Canada. Paolina moved to Aurora in her late 20s where she put down roots while working as a hairstylist. At age 30, she saw the Ironman Canada Triathlon on TV and was so inspired that she began training.
Well, cycling's always been her big thing. We met on a bike ride in 2001, just by sheer random. We were out for a ride up north of Newmarket and just met up and rode together for a while. The rest, they say, is history. But I could tell right away from the get-go that she loved cycling the most, and that was her strength. I mean, at the time, she was one of the best cycling triathletes in Canada and maybe even the world. I mean, she turned in some incredible sort of bike splits when she was racing seriously at the top of her game. Paolina is an athlete. What I saw when I first met her was this inner drive, this passion that I think you have to have. She didn't get into endurance sports till later in life. I think this was a latent talent that she had. And when I say talent, it's that mental talent, that mental ability to push yourself, to go to those dark places, in training, in races.
She enjoyed challenging herself. A year later, after more serious and focused training, she considered the Ironman Canada Triathlon. She made the podium as an age grouper. She was encouraged to run professionally. Between 2005 and 2012, she placed in the top 5 of various Ironman races around the world, qualifying for the Ironman World Championship in Hawaii 3 times and competing twice.
She was most successful at the Ironman triathlon. I mean, this is a 9-hour, 10-hour, arduous day of racing, and you have to be sort of committed and all in on something like that, all day long.
Cycling was always her strength. Paolina was often fastest in this portion of the triathlon. At 40 years of age, she went into bike racing, where she placed and won in local races and some larger multi-day races in the USA, often against younger and more experienced women. In 2011, she was the overall female winner of the American Triple T, a grueling 4-day triathlon event.
How does she overcome challenges? We've heard stories of races that she's been in where her bike is blown to bits and she carried her bike to a rest stop and got someone else's bike, and stories of determination.
Allan was ready to put her skills to the test on the world stage. She qualified for the Union Cycliste Internationale, competing in the UCI Masters Cycling World Championships in Denmark, finishing 7th place in both the individual time trial and road race in 2015. Allan never shied away from competing against former Olympians, national team members, and professionals. Allan won the Recharge with Milk Triathlon Pro Elite in 2012 and 2015. She placed 9th in the 2013 Green Mountain Stage Race, after maintaining 3rd place overall until the final stage. She achieved 10th place in individual time and 22nd in the road race in the 2013 Canadian Cycling Championships, competing against the best athletes in the country. In 2014, in local events, Paolina topped the podium in the Kitchener-Waterloo Road Race, Centurion Cycling Event at Horseshoe Valley, and the Centurion Hill Climb and the Centurion Canada C100. Allan holds records on several 1/2 Ironman distance events in Ontario and placed 3rd in the Cycling Tour of the Catskills race in 2014. Her list of athletic accomplishments is long, and she has represented Aurora well, both locally and internationally.
One of her things that she's most passionate about now, and I think this happens to athletes as they get towards the end of their career, even after their career. The ones that really understand it is the legacy that you leave. And one of the great legacies I think that she wants to leave is to get more women like into cycling, into triathlon. And that's a great thing. We need more of them doing, those sports, any kind of, sport like that. And she's very passionate about that, leaving that legacy of encouraging and, more women to check out the sport of triathlon, check out, cycling or riding just for fun or fitness. And that's something that she takes, pretty seriously these days.
Paolina was the honorary race director for the 2016 Women's Triathlon in Georgina. Recently, she has begun coaching, training mostly women in cycling and triathlon, inspiring local athletes to reach for their own athletic dreams.
I would like to, from the very bottom of my heart, congratulate the most important person in my life, my wonderful and amazing wife, Paolina Allan, for being inducted into the Aurora Sports Hall of Fame.
And now we are proud to welcome Paolina Allan into the Aurora Sports Hall of Fame.
Paolina, come on up. A plaque for you. We have here's some great words from your husband, by the way. Those are, you're gonna get a nice birthday gift for that. Oh, yes. So, presenting sponsor. Sorry, that's my bad. Scott Harris of Stonehaven Financial to the stage. Here's Scott. I was starting to perspire thinking about having to run, swim, and bike that long. That would be like running to Barrie, right? Swim back and Simcoe. Oh, man, yeah. I'll take a cab. I admire triathletes. Not sure if there's anybody on the face of the planet that is a better athlete than a triathlete. And now one of Canada's greatest triathletes is a member of the Aurora Sports Hall of Fame. Please welcome Paolina Allan.
I'm going to read from my paper because I tend to get a little excited and I can go off track quite a fair bit. So full disclosure, as you can already probably tell, I'm not one for public speaking and I don't make many speeches unless I'm leading a spinning class. That's the only time I like to be talking or if I'm in the gym. However, like any athlete contemplating a workout on training sessions and not looking forward to it and feeling overly tired, I know that you have to bear down, you got to focus, and you just got to get it done. So first of all, I'd like to congratulate all my fellow inductees, and it's been a true honor to share this night and induction class with you. I'd also like to thank the Aurora Sports Hall of Fame, the board of directors, and all those involved with this, and especially Karen and Mason. I think it was Bob who had said, I was absolutely shocked, and I still am. And I had just received a phone call just as I was heading out the door to go and coach. And I think I kind of laughed down the hallway as I went to work thinking, I don't think that was real. So I know what Bob was saying about that. I was at the Sports Hall of Fame yesterday evening, and I still can't believe that that's actually me on the walls. And if you haven't been there, please do go down and see, because they have done a fantastic job. As you saw with some of the video, as a child I was exposed to many, many sports, and thank you to my mom for doing that with us. You name it, my mom, she let us try it. I did batoning, I thought I was going to go to the Olympics. I did horseback riding, I thought that was going to be the Olympics. ice skating, badminton, netball, running, biking, swimming. The list was endless, and that continued right through, and it still does through my life right now. Then I saw Ironman on TV, and it was November in the 90s. And in that moment, I knew I had to do that Ironman race. So then I went off on my own and I trained for the three sports. I swam and I biked and ran, and I didn't join any clubs, no teams or any groups. I did it all on my own. The following year, I showed up at my first race in Milton, it was, but I didn't race. I stood there and I looked at that black, dark water, the stillness, and I could not get into it. Even though I'd set up my station and everything was ready, I could not do it. So I packed up all my stuff and I left and I went home. But then that's when you realize the power of friends, and I had to tell some people what I wanted to do. So that summer, I started to get into the lakes just a little bit trepidly. It still took me a while. But I missed that blue line in the pool. Anyway, the following year, I showed up to do my race because now I was ready. And I can still remember that feeling of elation. Yet there were also tears of disappointment because I came in fourth. And I'm looking at you, Bob, because I hope you understand that, being the coach. That's the truth. In that moment, I wanted to be up there with the girls on the podium. And in that moment, I knew that my sport had now found me. From there, I loved the training. I loved going to those dark, deep places within me that I could push beyond knowing what I was actually truly capable of. From there on, I was on the podium at every triathlon race that I did because I made the commitment within my own self. Was I good? Nope, not really. And I was most certainly not gifted, as many people have said. And the only way I got there was from the training, because I like to hurt. And I know that sounds peculiar, but there was something about the training, that feeling that razor blade pain in your legs, and you have to enjoy that if you want to get to the top. But then it seemed the longer I raced, the better it was for me. A few years after doing the short course racing, I raced my first Ironman along. Now I've met my husband, who I asked to be my coach, and we kind of went back and forth. I will also say on a sideline here, because people are quite fascinated at the fact that we've been together for 18 years, I think we work phenomenal as coach and athlete, probably better than husband and wife. Right? Yep, there's less arguing with the coach and athlete. Mm-hmm. I raced by that first Ironman and then many more, and soon I was standing on the shore at that race in Hawaii, just like I'd seen on TV. That race inspired me to get into the sport. By this time, it was 2007, and I had improved enough to be offered my professional license to start racing in that professional division. I was then traveling around North America and racing in Europe against the best of the women in the sport. Doing these races, as Steve had mentioned, they range from 9 hours, and you get up to 17 hours to complete it. It's a massive, physical, demanding job for the human body, but it's extraordinarily rewarding. It takes discipline and dedication, and it's laser focus to stay in the mental game for that long. I call it race management, and how you deal with those obstacles along the way, because believe me, there are obstacles that get thrown to you on race day. But then the finish line is there, and no matter where you place on that finish line, you feel like you're on top of the world, and it's a life-changing moment. And quite honestly, I don't have the words how to describe it. I've been asked in the past to give talks about certain races. One particular one was when I raced across the Pyrenees, and we had 21 mountains that we had to climb. And coming from Ontario, I had placed third in that. People were, how can you ride and race like that? But it was so personal to me that I just couldn't find the words, and I had turned down the opportunity to talk about it, again, also because I don't like to public speak. From there, I've now transitioned into a new life, and this opened up the doors for me to get into coaching along with the NCCP courses. Working with other athletes, it's about helping them achieve their goals through running and cycling and swimming. And the personal reward with that is seeing them take on a challenge and pushing through to get to the finish line. but most importantly, it's about when they believe in themselves. That was something I immensely struggled with. This has led me to go on now to work with the Aurora Ducks, the youth swimming program. Thank you to Red Chappelle and Kelly for believing in me. That has been the most important to me, to help and inspire the next generation of athletes. And it's with the help of Reg, who's always there. When I call him up for that cup of coffee and can you look at the next program, he's always got my back. From this, I've learned that children are not meant to be molded, but they are meant to be unfolded, just like little butterflies. Triathlon is an individual sport, but along the way, I've had the most incredible help along the way. There are all kinds of people that I'd like to thank, but I know I'm limited here. And for that, I'll just do a few little thank yous. I'm at table 3, and I call, this is my tribe. This is my Canadian tribe. My mom came over from Scotland to share this, and thank you. Thanks, Mom. Thank you for all the races that you've come to. Myself and my 2 sisters are also involved in the Ironman. And we are known to call up and say to Mom, want to go on holiday? We'll take you to France. We'll take you to Lanzarote. We'll take you somewhere. But there's a race. There was always a race with that. My Canadian family, my husband's family, who have been known to call me the ghost because in the summer they never see me, but they're always there with the evening meals at the cottage. Thank you so much for all the meals that you prepare, Leslie. Okay. To Dee and Tim and Brent and Jonathan, my solid friends who've stuck by me, who understand that the training often comes first and I'll see you at the end of the season, so they're always there for that phone call. They've also turned into more like therapists throughout the years, and I appreciate you guys from the bottom of my heart. And to my husband, no man has loved me the way you have, and I love you from the bottom of my heart. And it was Stephen who helped me to be the athlete that I was. He saw potential in me. I did it because I loved it so much. But Steve came from a high-level running background, and had it not been for him, he was the guy that found me and helped bring me here. I love you to the moon and back. And we'll do many more cycling trips. Okay. So thank you so, so much. It is an absolute honor to be up here. Thank you.